because I didn't go live until just now. And so we're going to go live right now. Thank you so very much for participating. And for those of you who are signing on, I hate to start the show all over again, but your boy is having brain fog. And blame it on COVID. Well, I'm blaming it on my Gemini nature, right? I do apologize for everybody, but I'm going to have my guest speakers reintroduce themselves because they didn't really get a chance to introduce themselves, and I'm gonna have them do it all over again. And so get loaded up and get ready, guys, because we're coming back at it. This is Coffee Tea, you and me with Coach Powell. I look forward to seeing you guys, and I'm so happy you're here. I apologize for the late start in today's meeting. I hadn't even turned on the live stream and until just now, and I realized that thought I had and I hadn't. I brain fog, brain fog. Okay, so I'm going to start off with our first guest today. Our first guest is Leslie Bradford. Leslie Bradford is a Salesforce genius. She's a specialist in all things CRM, and she's really, really good at this thing. And I'm going to have her introduce herself really quickly. Leslie, tell us about yourself. Sorry to have to make you do this again.
Thank you for the introduction, Coach Powell. It's an honor to be here as always. Intelligent Solutions is the name of our consultancy. We are a boutique consulting partner certified by Salesforce, and we specialize in optimizing all of your business processes to maximize your return on your investment in the Salesforce licensing. That's it.
Thank you, Leslie. And to not make him wait anymore, Michael Council, guess what, bro? You get to introduce yourself all over again because your frat brother is a nut job. So let's introduce Mr. Michael Council. Take it away, Mike.
Hello, everyone. Michael Council from EC Technology Consulting Services, and we've been here before, so I'm sure I've seen some of you before. We actually do. We're a small boutique cybersecurity company that actually works in with federal, state, and local contractors to go ahead and secure their data by implementing solutions and frameworks such as ISO 27001. We're working on our CMMC professional certification so we can bring those services online as well. But we're here to help you with a whole lot of cybersecurity solutions to make sure that you keep your data and the government data secure while you build up your business.
All right. Thanks, Mike. And thanks, Leslie. We're going to hear more from them in just a moment, but we're going to get this party started right now. Ladies and gentlemen, like I said earlier, but most of y'all didn't hear that because I wasn't even online yet. This is Coffee Tea, you and me. Every Friday, we get together with entrepreneurs, business leaders, and we discuss, great topics we think are going to be important to developing your business and keeping you moving forward. Today's topic is going to be really talking about the benefits of vision and how vision can carry you and your team forward, and how do you make those decisions and how do you make those calls. And so pay attention, sharpen your pencils, get everything ready. We're going to get this party started. First of all, what is vision? What is the importance of vision and the purpose of vision? You go online, you're going to find lots of quotes about vision. You're going to find lots of statements about vision. You're going to sound, and historically, back in the Bible days, we are talking about vision, right? Vision has importance. A vision is where the people learn to develop themselves, and without a vision, people perish, right? You heard, many of us have grown up and heard that in many different ways, how important vision is. But think about it. What really do you think your vision should be doing for you? If you're like anybody else, and you are like everybody else, your vision should be providing direction. It should be helping you focus on the direction that you're trying to go. And that is all your vision should do. It should be exciting, it should be interesting, it should be compelling, but it's got to be directional. We're going this way. That's all. That's the kind of guidance that vision brings. And when people hear that we're going this way, they go, okay, now I can apply my talents, my skills, whatever my time, talent, treasure is to that if I decide that I want to also go that way. That's all. Vision invites people in. It invites people then to go, okay, I want to play with you, even if it's just for a little while, even if it's just for a 2-year stand, a 5-year stand, a couple months. It doesn't really matter. It's the vision that compels them. And if you communicate that well, what you're going to find is people jump on board. People say, yeah, I want in. Suppliers, I want in. Referral sources, I want in. Big clients, I want in. People who want to work with you, even who are starting their careers or want to develop their careers with you, they want in because they buy into what? The vision. Even if, again, it doesn't mean they got to stay with you forever, they got to be so loyal to you, but it might be even momentarily, right? But in that moment, something might happen that would generate the energy that you need to you need to move forward faster than you could have had you not shared the vision. Many of us have been in rooms with people who can make a qualitative and quantitative difference in what we're doing in our lives and in our business, but we didn't have the vision to share at that point. So we missed that opportunity. An opportunity may not ever come again, right? When you are in front of a whale, so to speak, who can make a big difference in how you do whatever it is that you do. What are you going to share? How are you going to let them know that there's somebody that they should take seriously, or that you are somebody that they should take seriously, right? You need to know. So there's a couple of tips and tricks and strategies that I'm going to teach you today, that I want you to think through, and think about. And like always, right, the things I share with you, I want you to make sure you use them for good, right? I can't police your morality, but I want you to use them for good, because the difference between influence and manipulation is very, very subtle. And I want you to make sure that your intention is to be a person of influence and not a person who manipulates others, because it sometimes can get confusing. And I can't speak to your heart, but I want you to make sure that you speak from your heart, and make sure that you're doing things in a way that's authentic and that represents the best in you. And I'm sure that you will, but I have to always remind you, just in case, because that other guy on the shoulder might slip up every once in a while. Go, man, if you just say this, then you can make them do blah blah blah, and that could be true. But you don't want to be the kind of person that later on has to come back and feel like maybe you've damaged your reputation or done something that is untoward. I love that word, untoward. Right? You don't want to do that. So here we go. Let's talk about vision. When you talk about vision, there are a couple of key categories I want you to think about vision. First of all, I want you to think about the power of vision to inspire organizations towards their greatest opportunities, their greatest rewards. So when you think about yourself, when you think about your organization, if everything was perfect, what would it look like? What would it be like? What would you be able to be, do, or have that you can't right now, right? Because in your mind's eye, that dream, that 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 outside, way out there kind of thinking is what visionary leaders use all the time to say, hey, I may not get there with you, but I know that we as a people will overcome. That was a vision statement. That was a rallying call for so many people, you know, or when people will say, you know, the greatest thing we have to fear is fear itself, right? That was a visionary call to action, to do things even though you might be afraid, to do it anyway. And look what happened. When Churchill and others started to make those statements, those grand visionary statements about our possibilities and how we're going to get to space and how we're going to, overcome the next obstacles that are in front of us. And there are many more obstacles that are in front of the human family right now than ever before. What we need is vision. Vision is that inspirational rallying call that allows people to feel good about participating, engaging, and moving forward. Right. So number one, your vision needs to inspire people to greater rewards. And it needs to be big. I mean, don't think about it as if I could just get this one goal that I'm trying. That's not vision. There might be many goals that you have to accomplish inside of your vision, but don't mix vision, and goals. Number two, there's an opportunity for vision, your vision statement, to articulate and illustrate the not too distant future benefits that you may be wanting to deliver or wanting to experience, wanting your team to deliver and experience. Those benefits are maybe may need to be a part of how you want to share your vision. When I share my vision, I'm usually saying I want to be one of the best coaches to help entrepreneurs and business leaders support their focus, their productivity, and their energy in such a way they can live fulfilling lives and make their dreams real right now. That's ultimately what I'm trying to get to. That's ultimately where I'm trying to be. Now, am I there yet? No. When am I going to get there? I don't know. Do I have a plan to get there? Absolutely. And yes, I have goals. And yes, I have a mission statement. And yes, I have, all of the habit trackers and all the things I need to do to make sure that I'm doing the things I need to do to to get myself there. Without that vision, I'm not sure I'm going in the right direction. But that vision helps guide me. It helps me say yes to people that I should be saying yes to. Helps me say no to people that I should be saying no to. Because my question then is, what is your proposal for me? What does it have to do with my vision? And if you can show me demonstratively that what you're doing and what you're sharing with me has something to do with my vision, which means number one, you understand my vision. Number two, you listen to my vision. Number three, you figured out how you can get involved with my vision by whatever expertise or talent or whatever you have to bring to the table. That makes it much easier for me to say yes to that, right? But if you don't, then what are people volunteering to do? What are people opting into? What are they doing if there's no vision for anybody to get excited about, to articulate in a meaningful, powerful way? The third thing you want to consider is how a leader's inability to communicate a sense of vision passionately makes things harder for everyone. If you're not great at articulating that vision to your shareholders, or you're not great at articulating that vision to your customers, or to your referral sources, or to people that are supplying you whatever you have to be supplied, then they're just doing what they do. And there's no attachment emotionally or socially to what you're bringing to the table. But if you can articulate a meaningful vision, people will jump on board and do things that they would not do for people just who said they wanted a service or a product or whatever that is. I often ask people, who come service agreements I may have for people who come and deal with things at the house, right? You're going to replace my air conditioning unit or my heating unit or, some plumbing systems or whatever. I'm going to ask the question, how long have you been in business and how long do you plan to be in business? Because when this goes bad again, I don't know who to call. Or when this thing is acting up, I want to know, who can I depend on? Do you have a service agreement that we could enter into for 7 years down the road when this thing is going to go bad again? Love start talking about that now. That's planning, right? But that's also envisioning a relationship that I'm going to have. And it's important when you think about, what you're doing as not just a one-time thing, but an ongoing situation, because most things that you buy or purchase require some form of maintenance or some form of taking care of. And when you buy it, especially an asset, right, you have to take care of it. You have to maintain it, whatever the asset is. It could be real estate, it could be stocks, bonds, mutual funds. It doesn't matter what the asset is. It could be your business, right? What is your vision for the growth of it? What is your vision for taking care of it? Because if you're thinking that it's going to be the same way it was when you first initially acquired it, then you're thinking wrong. I mean, how many businesses do you pass on the road that's an old shell of an old business that doesn't exist anymore? and it seems like it was never updated. Nobody ever cared about it, and now it's turned into some building that they're going to use for something totally different. I can't tell you how many automotive services organizations I've seen now become banks or bread shops or whatever. Like, what happened? There's always a story there. Like, did somebody not take care of this business? Did they not maintain it? Did somebody not care for it and think about it? Vision has the ability to help prevent those things from happening. But when the vision is not expansive enough, long enough, deep enough, people run out of energy for it. They run out of juice for it. They run out of opportunity. And it's just the way it is. Other thing I want you to think about when it comes to vision is how you can wrap your story in the vision. What is the story of your business, and how is that helping your vision casting? How is it helping you bring whatever it is you're doing down to the basic human level? And for those of you all who know me, you know what I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about emotional intelligence. How does your story convey to others in a way where they go, huh, yeah, I can connect to that. I can see that. I feel like that's something that if I'm not excited about it, I can identify others who would be excited about it by the way you're telling the story. For those of you who have been reading some of the documents that I've been producing on benefits, right? I have a mantra. And that mantra is benefits are critically important for these reasons. Benefits begin to explain the hows and the whys and what we all want to receive in life and in business. But in order for us to really to embrace what benefits and the most compelling benefits, we need stories. So I would tell people all the time, benefits compel, stories sell, facts tell. When you understand that thought process and you organize your communication in a way that starts with benefits, here's what we're trying to accomplish that's going to be useful and meaningful and relevant, right? And then you wrap it into a nice little story. For example, if you were blah, 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 that becomes memorable, right? And then inside the story, you may lay in some facts of the new things that are coming down the pike that are true, you know, principles, concepts, ideas that are factual, hardcore facts that nobody wants to talk about. But remember those facts if you embed them in a story. If you tell the story well enough, your opportunity benefits will open their ears. The story will convey the message, and the facts inside the story will be the meaningful meat that they need to hang on to go and grow. It's super, super important that you understand this stuff when you talk about maximizing your communication and communication effectiveness. You got to be great at telling stories. That's the end, at the beginning and the end of all that. If you can't tell a story well, it's just not gonna be able to convey the meaning that you want to convey to people who need to have that meaning. Now, yeah, they're going to want to see the numbers for those that are number oriented. For a lot of people, the story is going to be all that they need to see and hear. Once they heard the story and the story is good, solid, and works for them, life will be golden. Now, one other aspect of benefits or vision that I want you to consider is what happens when you do it right. When people hear a vision that they can get themselves involved in, they can embrace that vision. The same excitement that went into creating, producing, sharing that vision is what the people experience. There's a universal understanding between humans that most of us really haven't articulated, but it's like a human Wi-Fi. It's called social mirroring. If I'm talking to you and I'm excited and I'm interested and I'm engaged, in what I'm saying and how I'm communicating what I'm saying, you're going to be excited and get interested and more engaged. But if I'm just boring and I'm reading word for word, I'm thinking you should do benefits this way, and I'm talking in a deadpan tone, and you know, I'm transferring that I'm not disinterested in what I'm saying, and really, why should you be interested in what I'm saying? And it's your body language and it's your intonation and the way you come through. And this is called social mirroring, this effect that we have on one another when we speak and share information with one another, and we do it in a way that we can be seen and heard. Right? It's not just words on page. It's not just text messages, or it's actual communication. And it's an energy that we pass back and forth to one another, and it's like that human Wi-Fi. Like I'm seeing the world the way you're seeing the world because you're expressing in the world the way it feels good to me and it works for me and I'm liking it and I'm enjoying it, or I hate it, whatever it is that you're feeling. Those feelings are being transferred to me, and I'm experiencing so much so that we start to share breathing patterns and we start to share rhythms in our speech and all that kind of stuff because we're social mirroring. We're transferring the energy one person to another person, and and if we do that through storytelling, it is all going to be amazing for you in terms of conveying the messages that you want to convey and transferring the things that you need to transfer to people. So it's super important that you understand the whole social mirroring thing. The last thing I want you to understand about vision and what it does for you is visionary leaders are so good at what they do. They seem to be effortless in their pursuits and effortless in making us feel safe and secured and give us what we need to follow them without a whole bunch of questions, you know. And that's super important. That's a super important skill to be able to have, right? To have the insight into people, to know what to say, when to say it, how to say it in a way that creates that kind of security in them, that makes them put down their baggage from their past, that makes them, not second guess stranger danger, right? Which we all have, right? To just disarm all of the fears and the doubts and the hangups that people normally bring into even a brand new conversation. When you're great at this vision casting, that's what happens. People go, I shouldn't trust you. I know I shouldn't trust you, but I do. Can't explain it. It just is. It's that human connection. And I would tell you, if you embarking on any kind of human interaction, then this is the kind of leadership you need to learn. You need to learn how to cast vision. You need to learn how to share your vision. You need to learn the power of vision, and you need to practice it. Start first right in your own home. You know, now you have to understand, if you haven't done this kind of vision casting in your own family, uh, they might be a little shocked and surprised at what you come up with, right? But, tell them, I'm practicing vision casting, and I need to know what you think honestly and open-heartedly about the things I'm sharing with you and what I'm saying. You're gonna know. Like, if they say, "Well, that doesn't work for me," or that, "Well, how would it work better? What would a better way for us to make that work with?" And start going back and forth and asking them questions about, what works for them. Because if you never try, and you never learn how to be successful with it with actual people, then it's going to be very difficult for you to get this thing. But for those of you who are paying attention, like I said, in the chat is a full document of all the training guide that goes into all the deep details, and you guys can. There's plenty of exercises in there for you to do. But I'm gonna chop it up with my guys now. I'm gonna chop it up with my backstage crew about vision, and I'm gonna ask them a couple questions, and hopefully they'll have some thoughts and ideas about this vision stuff. You know. What do you guys, when you think about vision, right? I'm gonna come over here so my head gets chopped off and not Mike's. There we go. Switch it around. Okay, so when you think about vision and the power of vision, Can you think of any examples in your world and in your life where, you were like all in because you heard such a powerful vision or powerful idea coming from somebody else? Besides me, I know I'm great at it. No, just joking, just joking. But does anybody have any thoughts that come to your mind?
I have an actual experience historically.
So
One
you
of the
just
most
increased the difficulty of answering that question.
influential and powerful
Go ahead, Leslie.
visionaries
I'm
that I've
sorry.
ever, pardon me?
He's got a delay on his end somewhere.
Okay.
So go ahead and you go,
I
Leslie.
Yeah, one of the most powerfully impactful visionary leaders I've ever had the pleasure of working with was actually at two companies. The first one, GSCS, and the second one, Integris Solutions. And the president of both of those companies, GSCS became Integris. He could come, just the way the energy you felt when he walked into a room, he could get everybody fired up about this new direction. And GSCS focused on supply chain optimization and sourcing electronic components and that type of thing to build in manufacturing. And they switched over into the economic downturn caused some resourceful thinking. Investors, that type of thing, were already involved in the multifamily real estate industry. And they pivoted into multifamily lighting packages for real estate developers. And I was asked to be an outside salesperson for that. And anyone that knows me, especially now, knows, I think it's fascinating and it's fun and it's exciting and all of that. But there's a whole nother side of it that just was way outside of my comfort zone. But I went, because this vision was created so powerfully and the potential of the market and all of that, you just jump in both feet. So I hope that answers the question. I think a leader that's a strong visionary gets people's excitement to be a part. They want to do everything they can to try and make it happen.
So true, so true. Michael, you have any thoughts about it?
Well, like I said, since you said I have to exclude the present company, you made the task a little bit harder. So I'm gonna have to go back a little bit farther to get a good example. But there's two examples that stick out in my mind of good visionary leadership that was able to, you know, get all of the actual stakeholders and subordinates around the vision. One of the first was during Desert Storm. There was this colonel, and we were sitting there at the breach at the line, get ready to go across, and we all gathered around, and you're a young man, so you thinking, the mission, you went over the operations order, but just the way that he took and he narrated what we were getting ready to do and the impact that it would have on not just our lives but history.
Wow.
Just kind of brought such excitement and made us want to, as they would say, proverbially run through a wall for this gentleman to get that mission done. So I am sure that after after that briefing, at least I was, there was some apprehension, some thoughts, hey, this may be the last time. But once we got that speech, we went through there with all of the confidence that was rolled up into his speech and the stories that he told that tied us into not only what was going on in present day, but what went on in the past and what would solidify our names and what we did into the future. So with that being said, you mentioned something earlier that for you to be a good leader, you have to communicate your vision. So other ways to communicate your vision is using good storytelling, but also interweaving and tying in what you're doing into a larger picture.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
not only being strategic for the organization, but strategic for whatever functional area you're in or history in that case.
Yeah. I always tell people go bigger. Go bigger. Don't be scared to go bigger
Go big or
because
go home.
your vision can be like narrow like this, or it can be like wow, it can be way out there, right? And the way out there vision is so much more exciting, so much more compelling. Even if people don't, you know, even if they still have doubts and fears, man, that thing is interesting. It's exciting, right? So it makes it draws your focus and it draws your attention. But when you start thinking, because a lot of people think vision, they think goals. I got to be real specific. I gotta do it by this point in time, and and it's like so not that, right? It's not that's not exciting enough. I mean, a goal is achievable. Yeah, everybody sees it, everybody understands it. Yeah, we just go for it, and we just do what we got to do. You can break that down to the small tasks, and you just get it done, right? Vision, though, you're not too sure you're going to achieve it, but you're gonna do it anyway, right? You're going forward in that destination anyway. It might not happen in your lifetime. It doesn't have to happen in your lifetime. It has to be big enough to motivate people to move and keep going. And when they get out of line, you kind of reorient them to the vision again. They go, oh yeah, that's right, let's go again, and they're at it again. You us military guys, we kind of understand, what it takes, and there's I don't know if you had this opportunity, Michael, when I was in the army, we'd be like they would literally call it false motivation.
Mhm.
We're going to pretend to be motivated. I'm like, I don't know why we should do that. It's like,
You have to do it
well,
anyway.
the general's expecting us to be excited, so we have to say rah 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 when the general says whatever he says. It's like, okay, great. That's not really motivation, but what you find is even if you start faking motivation, you start to get motivated. So it's
Osmosis.
the more you do it, and it's like this, the stories we tell ourselves, right? The more you tell ourselves that you're excited about it, you're interested in it, you're passionate about it, and you provide sort of rationale reasons for it, and you start to become excited about it and passionate about it. And our psyches are really that simple to hijack. It does take practice and
Yeah.
many many times, because we do have to undo a lot of trauma. But there's a reason why. What they say about fear, right? It's false evidence appearing real. And our minds are naturally triggered to fight, flight, or flee in the face of uncertainty or doubt
Mhm.
or anything like that, right? And so how do we rewire ourselves to make sure that those things, fear, doubt, hesitation, how do we make sure those things do not stop us from moving forward? Especially the fake stuff, fake news, right? We're telling ourselves we don't have enough experience. We've been doing this for 20 years. What do you mean you don't have enough experience? Oh, I have imposter syndrome. Why would you have imposter syndrome when you're no different than anybody else who are doing this? They still breathes and still has the same air and the same possibilities. Why would you have imposter syndrome? Well, I'm not like everybody else. Who is like everybody else, really? Nobody.
Right.
They're all faking it, really. they're all trying to be something, but everybody's on the way. The greatest statement I think that I ever learned as a young professional coming up was Dr. Maulana Karenga said, all of us are unfinished, ongoing projects. None of us is a finished product. And when you start to learn to look and see people as unfinished, ongoing products or projects, right? You can forgive them for the mistakes they might make. You can look past some of the foibles that they have. Hell, I depend on people to look past my foibles all the time because I know I'm not perfect. I know I'm on the way to becoming something significant and meaningful and relevant because that's my mission, that's my passion. But I'm never going to declare I have arrived because I still have room to grow. I still have room to change. I have challenges that are in front of me that I need to overcome. And to say that I don't, or I don't have those, Remember that there was the president we once had that said, "I don't read because I don't need to." You know, it's like I don't read the paper because I don't need to know. I don't that's not even useful information for me. I'm like, you kidding me? You're president of the United States and you just admitted that you don't read anything ever? Nope. It's like, okay, fine. We know why you were a C student at best, right? So it's just, these things that I tend to think about. I don't think we have any questions from our audience today. And it might be if we don't have an audience because I pushed the button at the wrong time.
Oh,
So,
Why you look like
that's
that
all right.
though? There is
What
one
happened?
thing I wanted to say when we talked about telling the story. Sometimes the story has to come out of multiple mediums and out of multiple mouths.
Mm,
So continue to multiply through your leadership. Be very succinct and clear with your vision. Make it so that you can have disciples going out there telling your story. Your
right,
disciples in your organization should be your leaders, but not only people, right? Because we only have the reach of what we can see, who we can talk to. There needs to be media. There needs to be posters and flyers around, in very common places, over water fountains, you know, in the bathroom where you wash your hands at. All these places where people go all the time. You need to be consistently pushing that message out so you can create other leaders and disciples to get your vision statement out there.
well said, my friend. You just reminded me of the fact that all the great ones, they have the same statement that they've been making for the last 20 years. Because you bump into them over and over again. It's like, you said that last year, the year before that too. They've been saying
Yeah.
the same thing for the last 20 years. But the consistency, like you said, Mike, and the quality of the message gets better and better over time. And what's clear is, they're passionate about this and it means something to them and they want to make sure you remember. Some of the reasons why I
Yes.
can quote some of the people that I quote and share with, why? Because I've heard that message several times. They didn't share it with me one time and it just stuck. No, I, I've heard, Dr. Stephen Covey say the same things over and over again. I've heard Maulana Karinga say the same things over and over again. I've heard, some of the best minds out there, talk about the same things over and over again. And it just, as now I can't separate sometimes between my thoughts and theirs.
Yes.
And that's
Repetitive
what,
and consistent.
right. That's exactly what you brought out. Thank you so much for that input. You guys have anything last minute you want to throw in here? Because I'm gonna close this party down and I'm gonna get me some Chinese food because I'm feeling horrible. I'm gonna have, I'm gonna have, I'm gonna have some good food just brought in to me and like a pampered, like what wonderful. I'm not cooking anything. I'm just having it delivered. So, any last thoughts?
Not for me.
Awesome, awesome. All right, I'm gonna put you guys backstage. Don't go anywhere. I'll chat with you just a second. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, that's Coach Powell, Training Development's Coffee Tea, You and Me, closing session with Leslie Bradford and Michael Council, some of the greatest business minds out there, guys. Every Friday, this is what we do. Chop it up, we keep it going. Next week, we're gonna be talking, even more deeper into how do you transfer benefits, how do you understand benefits, how do you use benefits, how does benefits and benefit statements become a part of your everyday DNA. This is how I do what I do, this is who I am, so that when people encounter you, all they feel is outstanding, right? All they feel is excellence. You want that to happen for you and your business as you recruit new people, as you train and develop people, as you move forward in greater and greater contexts and greater opportunities for sales and deals, all the stuff. You just want to be great at that stuff. And I look forward to helping you get there. My name is Coach Powell, Coach Powell Training Development. We're actually going to sign off better than we signed on. And I hope you guys have a great time. Talk to you soon. Thank you very much. Bye.